Have you ever walked through a city, sat in your own living room, or laughed with friends and still felt like you didn't belong? Not because you were excluded, but because something in you just never settled, like you're always halfway somewhere else. Psychology says that kind of disconnection isn't about being lost. It's about how your nervous system was trained to survive. Let's explore the quiet, often misunderstood psychology of people who never feel at home anywhere and why it's not a flaw, but a map. There are people who can walk into any room, any city, any environment, and still feel like a guest in their own life. Maybe you felt it. That quiet ache of existing slightly out of place, like your soul is hovering a few inches above the floor. You show up, you smile, you adapt. But no matter where you go, a small part of you stays packed away, untouched, like you're always just visiting, even in spaces meant to feel like yours. It doesn't always hurt. Sometimes it's just a subtle dissonance. A question humming under the surface. Why don't I ever feel like I've arrived? Why does home, this feeling other people seem to settle into so effortlessly, always slip through your fingers the moment you think you found it? Let's be clear. Not feeling at home doesn't mean you're broken. It means something or someone once shaped how your body defines safety, how your mind defines rest, and how your soul defines belonging. And that story begins much earlier than we usually realize. For many people who never feel at home anywhere, the root doesn't lie in geography. It lies in early emotional terrain. You might have grown up in a house that had walls and windows and family photos, but emotionally, it was a storm. Maybe love felt conditional. Maybe silence felt dangerous. Maybe the rules changed depending on the mood of the day. And so you learned, without ever putting it into words, that safety wasn't guaranteed, that peace was always temporary, that home was a place where you couldn't fully exhale. This is what psychologists call emotional displacement. When the physical environment around you doesn't match your internal need for safety, the brain stops tying comfort to place. You become hypervigilant, always scanning, always adjusting, never quite resting. You notice everything: the shift in someone's tone, the pause before they answer, the way a room feels right before conflict arrives. You track emotional weather like your life depends on it, because once it did. You might have learned how to be charming, how to be helpful, how to disappear. You might have learned to anticipate others before they even spoke, a survival skill masquerading as empathy. And when you grow up like that, adulthood doesn't magically change the wiring. You carry that same inner code into every new apartment, every new relationship, every new town. So, no matter where you go, it feels temporary. You wait for the other shoe to drop, not because you're pessimistic, but because your nervous system never learned how to feel safe in stillness. And the cruelest part? Sometimes the moment life finally gets quiet, you feel restless, because rest has never felt safe before. Think about it. What happens when your body never learned how to belong? You carry the ache with you, like a suitcase you don't remember packing. You move through rooms like a visitor, even when the lease has your name on it. You sleep in beds that feel borrowed, even when no one else is coming back. You keep your emotional suitcase half zipped, just in case, because you learned that stability can vanish overnight. And you adapt. Oh, how you adapt. You study people. You mirror energy. You say what fits the moment. You perform closeness because you want it desperately. But deep down, some part of you doubts it will last. So you hold back, you edit yourself, not because you're hiding, but because you've never felt fully received. This is the experience of invisible exile. You live near your own life, but not inside it. You're watching from the threshold, present, but not anchored. and it's exhausting in ways no one sees. You can be in a relationship and still feel like you're on the outside of it. You can have friends and still wonder if they'd notice if you disappeared. Not because they don't care, but because some part of you never fully arrives. You're always 1 foot out the door, even when you desperately want to stay. And it's not dramatic, it's quiet. 1,000 small disconnections that add up over time. When you grow up feeling like a guest in your own home, you don't grow into someone who feels rooted anywhere. Some people don't lack belonging. They carry old loneliness like a second skin. But here's where everything begins to shift. Not feeling at home anywhere doesn't mean you're lost. It means you've developed a kind of wisdom most people never earn. You've learned how to read a room in seconds because you once needed to read danger between the lines. You've learned how to adapt, blend, soften, listen, because survival depended on it. You know what it means to walk into unfamiliar places and hold your center quietly, even if no one else sees it. This isn't a flaw. It's a strength forged in silence. You developed emotional flexibility, the ability to hold multiple versions of yourself depending on the space. It may feel like fragmentation, but it also means you can connect with many different kinds of people. You can sit with someone grieving and not rush to fix them. You can walk into a tense room and not absorb the chaos. You can hold space for complexity because you've lived it. Still, there comes a point where adaptation becomes exhaustion. And you start asking a different question. What if home isn't something you find? What if it's something you build from the inside out? The real belonging you're searching for isn't out there, it's inward. It's the part of you still waiting to feel safe with yourself. Your loneliness isn't pointing to a place or a person, it's pointing to an inner room that was never finished. And now you get to build it. So, what does it mean to build a home inside yourself? It means learning how to sit in your own presence without editing, without shrinking, without fleeing. It means speaking to yourself gently on the days your inner child flinches at closeness. It means noticing when you're performing versus when you're present, and choosing presence even when it feels vulnerable. It means creating rituals that say, you're safe now. Simple things, warm drinks, soft music, predictable rhythms, the slow daily language of emotional safety. It means choosing people who don't just tolerate your sensitivity, they honor it. People who don't make you explain why certain things feel heavy. People who understand that for you, trust doesn't come quickly because it was broken quietly. It means replacing performance with presence, showing up as you are, not as you think you should be. And yes, that's terrifying at first, because for so long, performance was protection. But presence is where real connection begins. You're not broken for always feeling in transit. You're not failing because roots don't come easy to you. Your body was simply trained for movement, not rest, for scanning, not sinking in. But that training can soften. New pathways can be built. And they start with this truth: you no longer have to earn your right to exist in peace. Home is not a location. Home is the moment your body says, I don't have to be on guard anymore. It's the softness that arrives when you realize you're allowed to stop performing. It's the quiet knowing that you don't need anyone's permission to take up space. One day, the place you feel most at home won't be an apartment or a city or a partner's arms. It'll be that quiet steadiness inside you, the one that doesn't ask for permission, the one that doesn't leave when things get hard, the one that says, you belong here, you always have, and you don't have to prove it anymore. Because the truth is, for people who never felt at home anywhere, the journey isn't about finding the right place. It's about becoming the right place. It's about building an internal foundation so solid that wherever you go, you carry home with you. And maybe that's the hidden gift in all of this. Maybe people who never felt at home in one place learn something everyone else misses. That home was never meant to be a building or a town or even a person. It was always meant to be a feeling, a frequency, a return to yourself. So, if you've spent your whole life searching for that one place where you'll finally feel like you belong, maybe the search was never about geography. Maybe it was always about archaeology. Digging through layers of old fear, old survival patterns, old beliefs that told you safety was something you had to chase. And now, finally, you get to stop running. You get to put the suitcase down. You get to say, I'm staying, not because the place is perfect, but because I'm finally here, fully, without armor, without apology. And in that moment, something ancient and exhausted inside you finally exhales, because at last you've come home, not to a place, but to yourself.